Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to be speaking about some personal stuff, let's say like story time, what I've been through, what I've done, what I should have done, what in the current moment I have done, and stuff like that. So let's get to it. As first, I will try to say things year by year, so I don't need to say I am doing this, and then and back in the days in da. So I'm going to be starting doing something like that. For first, I sort of remember most of the times what I have done since I was 4. So let's start from there. I'm not quite sure right now about this, but when I was 5, my father died, and he died from cancer. I think he got it when I was 3. Don't remember that. When I was little, from the 4 kids in my family, by that I mean my sister, my 2 cousins. My sister and my cousin are 5 years older than me. His sister is 3 years older than me. All the times I was like the one who always had to go with my parents or my grandparents out in our village. So I don't think that's correct to say. So furthermore, I'm going to be saying ranch. I think you understand what I mean by that quite more. If you're from my country, it's easy to get what I'm speaking of. So there I was something always to be done, even with, let's say it's 3 hours of work, and then you don't need to do anything else, but there was always something to be done. So speaking about that, there was always something to be done, even if it was little. I always had to go with them, to help them, or just stay there, because I'm the little one. I have hardly had a weekend I wasn't there when I was little. Most of the time, like until I was 18, I can say for sure. Most of the time, every weekend, I need to go there to help them. It was not good. Maybe sometimes if it's a holiday, or let's say a summer vacation, something like that, for 2 weeks, we're going to go to the beach or something like that, but most of the time I had to go. I have had always helped them, so many things before in the years past, and a few years too, to be precise. They really pissed me off, and from then I can say I have hardly went there to help them or anything like that. Also, except the thing that they pissed me off, at that moment I wasn't in a good mood, so I wasn't thinking quite clearly, let's say it like that, but still. So let's get back to the right moment. When my father died, he was actually thinking about buying our own place to live with my sister and my mother. Right then we were living with my grandparents, my mother's parents, in our apartment, which I'm living right now with my grandma and my sister. But things didn't go as planned, as you can see. I I don't remember much of him. I was little. I have a couple of moments. I quite really try to remember them every day so I don't forget. I can say they were special for me. Even some of them, if I see a picture, it's going to be quite easy for me to remember what exactly happened. I have a mind that can remember simple stuff like that. So when I was 6, when I think it should be called preschool or kindergarten, to be precise, wasn't the most fun time at my moment. The food wasn't quite good there. From there I started to hate chicken soup. Don't like it even now. I have tried the difference, but the taste, it's not good, and I like chicken. Everything else, me and one friend, after lunch, you had to sleep for I think 1 hour, so we couldn't sleep. I never had that thing. The little kids like when you eat your lunch or something like that to get a nice sleep. Never liked it. Never truly done it. Even now, if you ask me if I'm even tired, I cannot sleep through the day. So this friend, one time, me and him were late to get on the tail before we get back in the building. We were outside playing some kind of break, so we were late like 10 to 15 seconds, not more. And why I'm telling this is because there was one woman which was quite young. She was replacing the woman who was caring about our group. So she punished us for these 15 seconds being played to get with him on tail, and some shitty things happened. Exactly, to be precise, she didn't ask us. She was trying to ground us to take shit, to be precise, in front of the 3-year-old kids, because we were late for 10-15 seconds. We really hated that lady. So this is something really stupid to do, to make 6-year-old kids who didn't do quite anything, like, okay, you're late, but this is 15 seconds. You cannot tell anyone to do something like that. It's really embarrassing to do it, and we didn't actually do it. She just wants to sort of piss us off and embarrass us in front of the little kids who are like watching you. She tells them, do you see these two? They were late, and now they need to take a shit in front of you, and everyone is laughing at you, and you don't feel really good about that. And to be precise, I haven't told this to anyone. I don't really remember telling it to anyone. So the next year, when I was 7, I started going to school. It's still high school, the one I said in the previous video I was going to. I wasn't the best student, but I was okay. To be precise, right then when I started, I wasn't bullied so much, but still, there was something like that. The stupider kids, let's say it like that, who, let's say, have problems in their families. Like, everyone has. Some may have bigger, but that doesn't mean you need to produce your anger in front of someone else who could even kick your ass if he wanted, but because let's say his parents have teach him a different way, and you're not doing that. So our teacher, she got pregnant. So the next year, when we turned 8, this is the second grade. We had one woman which was bad. She was old. She was always screaming at us about something like nothing. Let's say number is 10. Get up and tell the answer. But she was screaming like, "What the fuck are you doing?" or something like that. I probably shouldn't say the F word, but still. At that point, I started to like one girl, which apparently in the preschool, in the kindergarten, we were in the same group. So at school, we were at the same class. We were sitting next to each other. It wasn't until 10. So the next year, something I missed in the text. I don't know why, but I'm probably going to get back to that moment later. But the next year, the so-called cool kids, the bullies, were really getting it done, saying some bullshit or calling you stuff that I shouldn't be saying right now because it's, let's say, some of them may start with the F word and stuff like that. Me and 3 other friends had our own group of not so smart or cool kids, but a couple of friends. So right now I'm going to be calling one of these friends, which apparently I'm going to be saying about him some stuff later, but he's my first best friend. That's how I'm going to be calling him in here. Right then there were stupid things that happened. I was getting really easy pissed off, like you can just touch me and I will start chasing you through the halls, and it wasn't fun. I couldn't control my anger. Everyone was so trying to bully me. I never tried really to get in a fight or anything like that so bad, because that's not the way my parents have taught me, and they have always said if something like that happened, don't worry, you can get in a fight. We are going to think about that later, but I haven't done like anything so bad. We have done, let's say, some kind of fights or something like that, but nothing to get so dangerous about. I did some other stuff I don't want to share that were really stupid. They weren't at school, but let's say even for physical kind of stuff, I have no idea why I have done them, but still. The next year it was getting worse and worse. I was doing good at school. My teacher had never had problems with me. I wasn't quite, let's say, the smartest, but I can easily say I was doing very great at school. The only thing I wasn't good at, and I'm still bad at this time, is me speaking, let's say, clearly, like I'm doing it right now. Sometimes it goes like really easy, but most of the time, let's say if I'm speaking in Bulgarian, I won't be saying or stuff like that. But I never had learned to read in English, in Bulgarian, or in Russian. And right now, even if I'm reading most of the time and trying to look as much as possible in the camera, I'm sort of reading really slow, and I have always read slow because when I was younger I wasn't reading a lot of books or stuff. Didn't quite like it back then, but By the years passing, I'm trying to fix that one. Sometimes when I'm starting to say like I'm doing most of the time right now, I guess I'm just dusty from not speaking English. Like I said in the previous video and the video I have actually recorded, which is going to be the third video. This one I will probably make. The first one is going to be part 1 and part 2. The third one is going to just one part. This one is going to be somewhere about 3 or 4 parts, I guess, something like that. I'm starting to record it today on Easter's Day. I'm going to be finishing it next Saturday or Sunday, I guess. I don't quite have the time right now. Shit happened, and the next year after that, so the time when we were already 10 years old, the 4th grade. I don't know if you're in your countries if it's the same way, but in mine it's like this. The next year, this so-called BFF of mine really pissed me off. He said in front of everyone in the class, I like that girl. She was actually my first love, and from there until now, I haven't had anyone else to feel like that about. So hopefully in the future I will, but I've had some problems and issues with speaking or finding a girlfriend or anything like that. But I'm going to be speaking about that much later in this video, which is going to be, let's say, in part 3 or part 4. And what basically happened then was he told in front of everyone, I like that girl. Then from that moment everything went really bad. We were sort of good friends with her. I remember one point, I think it was earlier that year, she kissed me, don't really know why. We had an exam on math, she had A, I had A as well. I don't remember being bad at math anytime. In the past, it's something I've always been good at. So everyone was like saying my name and her name. Stuff like I'm going to say just the first. So they were saying things like that. O, M, and R are sitting on the tree, and blah blah blah. You know the rest. So based on that, back then we were really close friends. We cannot say best friends or anything like that, but we were really good friends. I knew some boys from my class and from other classes that liked her as well. She got really mad, and I never asked her why did she really got so mad at me for liking her or not telling her or doing anything like that. From then on, that moment, we weren't sitting next to each other, and we basically, since we started school, we were sitting next to each other. So that wasn't something I was quite okay with. So the next 2 years, she didn't say one word to me. Like I said, I don't know why. I was really pissed at him, but he's still my friend, and bros forever. So at that year, I wasn't finished with doing some stupid stuff. So I did something to try to fix it, which my grandfather, my father's father, told me to do. Go buy her some plush toy for Valentine's Day, and I did. And I went to give it to her, and that year made things worse. So the next year when we turned 11, we are switching, let's say, our classes. So when we turned 11, we ended at the same class again. So when we were at that year, I can personally say we were so-called teenagers, and for the summer before we started school, we both turned 11. She got really much better looking than before, and she was good looking before that. No matter that we were little and you don't quite really understand anything about life yet, but for the 3-4 months before we started school, except the thing that she got much cuter, her got much bigger, and it was just like an enormously big change. Back then, in that year, I did really bad things which fucked me up. After 2 months, after 2 more years actually, when I started regretting or doing things. At that point, I had only trained soccer in my school and some other sports at my school, but nothing so special, the normal ones. So when I was 11, I started doing some push-ups and some crunches, like really many ones. When we were having our gym class, I think it's called like that, or most of the time I was doing push-ups and crunches, or I was playing basketball or ping pong, or I was doing, let's say, for 1 hour only crunches or mixed with push-ups. I think my best score of doing crunches is somewhere about 800 sit-ups, which is a bunch of. I was doing so many at that time that sometimes when someone's touching my abs, I will crunch because it hurts from the pain of doing like almost every day the same thing. That year I also started training basketball. The next year I stopped, but still I trained basketball for 1 year when I was 11. At that point I had a good PC which I bought with my money. I had saved through a couple of years. Before that my PC wasn't so good, but right then I was gamer before that, but with the new PC, which back then was good PC and everything was running really great on it, I became even bigger gamer. And back then at that point we started getting really nice internet and stuff like that, so we could do a bunch of stuff. Before that we were actually playing in computer clubs. So you're going there, you pay for, let's say you want to play for 15-30 minutes, hour. It depends on how much money you have and you can spend in the club, but we were spending a bunch of time at there as well. We won't buy anything at school so we can save money, so we can go and play in the computer club. We had PCs at home, but they were sort of slow, and it wasn't so easy to get a new computer or to get games to download, because we were just getting more into computers and technology and internet. So I think I had my actual first PC. I haven't bought it, but I think I was 8 when we had it. It was really old one. It was from the 90s. Then we got a bit better one, but still I couldn't play my games on it. It was really slow. It actually still works. It's in my ranch, but back then when we were younger, we didn't have quite so good internet, and most of the time when we had, my sister was using it to chat with friends or schoolmates from her school. Back then we were using Skype, so I didn't get much time to play on the computer back then, but still. So when I got this PC, my group of friends, we started playing CS and the game I said in previous videos, Silk Road Online. Like in the summers, we will get up at 5-6 a.m. so we can log in the game. It was crowded, so after 8 a.m. you probably won't log in again in the day. So if you get disconnected or anything like that, that's all. There's no going back. We were playing so for really much time. We'll go out to play after we eat something at lunch for a couple of hours. Then we are going to come back and play more and more and more. That was, from time to time we were doing this, not all the time, but most of the time. That's what we have done. So we'll play for 4 hours. Sometimes we'll play really later on the night. I haven't gone too late, but I have gone to stay somewhere about 10 or 11 p.m. Something maybe happened a couple of times, me staying about 12, but not further than that. The group was from 4 people, which we had in school, sort of break, because one of the boys moved to another city. His mother got another job, so he moved out. So we end up getting 3 more boys into our group in the 5th grade. One of the boys, he wasn't the smartest one, but I can say for sure he was really good friend, and he was playing soccer and he liked that very much. The other guy was really smart. He's smart now. We haven't seen each other in a couple of months, but we were playing CS with him. And some other friends who are from internet friends. The other guy who joined the group was the type of person who will say anything and won't give a F about it, but he's a really nice guy, to be honest. So there was one more boy in the group, which was before them until the 4th grade, so until we were still 10 years old. He was really smart. I can say he's one of the smartest people right now in our country. He's a really smart guy. That's all I can say for him. He wasn't in the computers. He wasn't a gamer or anything like that. He didn't have a computer. He didn't want to have a computer. He was into nature stuff. He really liked to read books and stuff like that. Really nice guy. So me and my BFF and some other boys from our neighborhood, we were playing this game so-called Silk Road for a bunch of times. Like I said, I have played that game for 10 years, maybe more. Very, very long time. Between that, we were playing some other games like other MMOs or just RPGs or stuff like that to fill up the time, or if we are not in the game or something like that. But In that game we had something called bot. Most of the time we didn't have one because you had to pay for it, or it was very hard to get a hacked one that you can use. At that point I can say I was really bad at speaking with girls. I don't think I'm so good even now, but I definitely am doing much better with that. At this time my mother's father got sick. Maybe I'm lying about the years, but something around that time. I don't remember, so you can guess what happened to him after he gets sick. It was very bad. He was very nice cooker, and he said some stuff to me that right then, before he passed out, I remember him saying some stuff about me to me, and I won't remember the exact moment, but he said something to me which is in my mind since then. He told me, don't cry, you're a boy, you need to be strong for your mother, for your sister. When you grow up, someone needs to take care of them. So he said that to me when I was really little. My father has passed, and just really bad things. When I was 12, I had problems with the bullies in my class. They were calling me stuff, let's say like a bastard or something like that as well, but a little kid who has lost one of his parents and a couple other family members is not so good. So little after my after my grandfather passed out, my grandmother has died as well. I think maybe it was a few months later, or maybe a year or something like that. My grandmother is my mother's mother. Let's say it like that. I think it's correct. So a couple of months after she passed, my grandfather, he got sick as well a little bit, so he couldn't live alone anymore, and we had to watch him. So my grandma has a sister and brother. She's the oldest one, but for 1 year he will spend a couple of months with them, with us. But most of the time when he was spending the time with us, like let's say I think he was for 6-7 months with us, and most of the time I was taking care of him because from school I'm home, my computer is in the same room, and I'm basically staying to him most of the time. After a few years he passed as well. So when he passed, I remembered what my grandfather he said to me never to cry, so I made a promise on his funeral that I will never cry. I didn't cry on his funeral, no matter how sick this may sound, but when I turned 13, then we were about to go to a new school, which I'm going to be saying. I didn't go to a new school after that year. I actually got to a new school after 1 more year. I remember this moment, and I think I want to share it exactly this. So the moment was so at that year, in this moment, which includes a couple of girls actually, from my class that I knew they liked me because I have heard them, or a friend told me, or another girl told me, so stuff like that. But I didn't really think about them or giving them a try or anything like that. Even I knew because I was still in love with the girl I said earlier, and they didn't mean anything to me, and that was a huge mistake for me to get so obsessed with that, and it didn't go as well for the future. And this one day, which I remember, was me and the guy I said who will say anything and won't give a F about it. We were called by the two names of two people who were singing in the so-called type of music in my country, Chauga. They were a couple. They were a gay couple. Why we were called because of that by their names. So one of the names was Chinese, and my friend was called Chinese. Didn't look like a Chinese guy, but I don't know why they started calling him like that. They started calling him Chinese guy. I think we were 12, maybe earlier, but I think it started when we were 12. So at this one moment, the girls in our class, which liked certain boys, wanted to kiss them. So some of them were a normal kiss, or some were on the cheek, but it depended. So when that happened, one of the girls tried to kiss me, and I didn't run, but I moved the desk and I said, hell no, that's not going to happen. That wasn't so good for me to say, but one of my friends, the smart guy who came in our group, he was in love with the girl who tried to kiss me, and I knew that girl actually liked me, but I didn't do it only because of him, but because I was still in love with the other girl and I didn't want to do it. So what actually happened after that is because of the things I did, I was called with the name of that guy. I'm not going to say that name, but it's not okay to call someone like that, or to say he's gay because, excuse me, because he's in love with another girl, and it's been probably obvious back then as well. Excuse me. So right then I remember the moment when the girl sit down, and she is actually the BFF of the girl I was in love with. So I heard what they have said, and she said if that was you, he won't do it, he will just stay there and he will let you kiss him. And she said yes, probably he will do that, and yes, I would do that for sure if that was the girl I liked and she tried to kiss me, 100% for sure. So I said back then, okay, the next day if something like this happens, I am going to be saying okay, let's kiss stuff. And just from that moment I think I realized that I wasted a bunch of years chasing a girl I didn't get, who was a great friend of mine, who I have lost as a friend, and things were going really bad because I was in love with her, I was bullied about it and stuff like that, but I was called like that already after they do this, so it wasn't anything good for me right then. I'm not saying the story maybe is correct or interesting or anything like that, but that's what it is. Like I said, I realized that I have wasted somewhere about 4 or 5 years of my life, and I was 13, so that's not much, but still I have lost my, let's say, teenager's mood of getting sick with a girl or something like that. After I think maybe 1 more year, I really stopped thinking about that girl and I forgot about her. Like she wasn't anything but okay, if something happens, we can be friends. But I was gaming so much at that point that everything was sort of really bad. Um, the next year, when we turned 14, I started having some problems with my hormones in my body, especially the testosterone. Nobody actually knows that. A couple of friends, the BFF of mine knows about that, but nobody else knew about that then, and he didn't knew about that then. Only I knew, and some other people who apparently I cannot say their names, but only I didn't have any problems with that testosterone, but I had problems with some other manly parts. One of them was my chest. So I have something called like I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I'm probably going to say right here somewhere with it will the word will appear, but I think it's called gynecomastia or something like that. Basically, it's a main boob. I'm going to show it maybe a bit better in another video what this actually looks like. And because of what I have been accused in the past of taking steroids or something like that. No, I haven't. That didn't include, the problem I had with my testosterone because I had lower testosterone, but it appeared to me at two parts the most. It's not quite okay, but still, I've managed to move past that. So at that year, my new class, which was in the same school, I stayed there because the school I wanted to go into, I needed 1 more year. So I just said, okay, I'm going to stay in the same school. Why should I move somewhere further from home? This is close to me. I will finish this year and I can go and specialize in what I want in the school I mentioned in the first video. So one of the boys of the group was still with me. He was going to some kind of other school for something like that. The soccer boy to be precise. And right there I met a guy which was a really good friend of mine, but somewhere about when we turned 17, 18, we lost contact. I'm going to speak about that later, but he ended up playing the same game as me and my friends, the one called Silk Road. So he was one of my best friends for the next 4 years, I could say. We were playing this game. He was my gym buddy. We started training with him. He got the ideas, and I'm going to speak about that later. From what I remember, I have written down. A couple of guys from my class then also played that game, so we had fun in the game. I won't say it wasn't fun, but we spent quite much time in it. It was sort of popular in my country back then, so yeah. So one time he said, do you want to start training? I said, sure, why not? So we had planned to start doing that when we go to our new schools. when we actually were thinking of starting going to the gym before that, we said, okay, let's get a bit stronger. So let's go with the basics. Let's do some upper workouts and some push-ups and stuff like that at home, so we can manage some kind of strength before we actually go to the gym. So we did that. When we went to the new school, we were still playing really much that game and some other games, but still, gaming was like most of the time I had free. I was spending it on gaming something. We really had good moments then. I cannot express them with words, but it was fun. I will just say that. So that made me more and more antisocial because I wanted to play so much on the games. I wasn't thinking about getting a girlfriend or changing anything in my life. Like, I will go start going to the gym, I will stop playing, I will stop eating shitty food, or I will get a girlfriend or anything like that. I wasn't thinking like that. I just wanted to make some kind of change, but the gym doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to change your whole life. So that didn't happen with me as well. To be said precise, I don't regret what I have done in the past. No one should. No matter if we regret the things we have done, if we haven't done the things in the past, we would never end up in the moment we are right now. Yes, we might be in much better moment than this one, but we will never know, and you should never regret the things you have done, because in the end, no matter that I had spent so much time playing on the computer and stuff like that, I really had a good time then. So it's not so bad when you look back then. You can always change something in your life, even in the future. So we turned 15. We were going to the new schools. So we were going to start going to the gym. And at that point, something happened again. My mother got sick. She got a cancer on the lady part of her. So my dad, if I'm pronouncing it right, he had a problem, cancer on his lungs. My mother on her girly parts. Don't know what exactly it's called, but she got surgery. Things were looking really great after that. She didn't have some kind of problem or anything like that. So she just needed to go and have, I'm not sure what it's called. I think I have written that down below. I will probably see it, but we'll get that in a few moments. So when I started the new school, when I actually started school, not the new school, she met a guy at her job, so it was 2 years since my father has passed off, and from then they were together until she got a cancer. The stuff what happened with them through the years, I don't have the right to speak of. Some things were bad, some things were good. He was living with us, basically sort of the normal stuff. They never had married or anything like that, but I can for sure say that he was like a stepfather to me. no matter what happened between them, they were always there for each other in the end. And I'm really grateful for the stuff he has taught me, for the moments he was there to me to help me, even let's say with homework, but I never really asked anyone for help with my homework. Uh, he helped us financially as well. You know, he was living with us. He was giving my daily money, which was a big part of uh, help for my mom. I can say she wasn't making so much money or anything like that. Uh, Even now, I can say when we see each other, we are speaking about stuff that I'm basically not telling, let's say, my family, or how it ended getting to my mother. She actually died a few months, maybe almost a year after the surgery. How it actually happened was so in the summer we were going to another village, another ranch we had. It was my grandfolks that I said earlier that had passed out. She really liked it. We were going there really often at the weekends. I was going with her on the summer to help her. I didn't have school, so we will go there and we will spend like 2-3 weeks together. We hardly will go back to the city. I'm helping her do that, do this, fix this, break down this, build this, or stuff like that. Uh, so one day she had sort of, I can say, stomach pain or something like that. It gone for a couple of days. Her boyfriend, he came so he can pick us up because I was 15. I couldn't drive a car. I actually almost turned 16, I think, or maybe I was already 16 at that summer. So he came to get us back so they can go see a doctor or something, because they thought she's having a recovery scanner or something like that. I don't know what's called, like I said. So it actually happened that one of the scanners she had for the recovery of the surgery ended up getting on different spot on another lady which had the same name as her, but on a different part, so that we messed the things up. Uh, so what ended in the happening is on her smaller intestines. I will put that on the screen as well. I am not speaking it right, pronouncing it, so I will put it on the screen, but it ended that it was blocked.